Marine Scout Sniper Rifle. The Marine Scout Sniper Rifle, MSSR, is a Philippine semi-automatic designated marksman rifle developed by the Philippine Marine Corps for their Marine Scout snipers. Designed in the mid-1990s to replace severely outdated battle rifles then used as marksman rifles, the MSSR is essentially an M16A1 that has been heavily modified and accurized to serve as a marksman rifle. Since its introduction, marksman rifles that are derivatives of the MSSR have been designed for other purposes by the Armed Forces of the Philippines, namely the Night Fighting Weapon System, NFWS, an integrally suppressed variant for night combat, the Special Purpose Rifle, SPR, a variant for the Philippine Army, and the Squad Designated Marksman Rifle, SDMR, a carbine variant. Development. The system was developed in-house under the direction of then Col. Jonathan Martyr, PN, M, GSC, N6. The MSSR was developed due to the need of a sniper rifle system that could effectively use 5.56 x 45 mm NATO ammunition. Most other sniper rifles use the larger 7.62 x 51 mm NATO cartridge. This was done mainly for cost-saving and availability reasons, since the armed forces of the Philippines are actively engaged in counterinsurgency and internal security operations, especially against the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, MILF, Abu Sayyaf Group, and occasionally, the Communist New People's Army. The shorter effective range of the 5.56 mm cartridge compared to the 7.62 mm was less of a factor due to the shorter ranges encountered in jungle combat, where the rifle is primarily used. Its performance during subsequent combat operations proved the effectiveness of the weapon system, and it was adopted as the primary range sniper rifle, for ranges of up to 600 meters, of the Philippine Marine Scout snipers. Originally intended to be a temporary solution and slated to be delegated as a designated marksman's rifle upon the acquisition of newer 7.62 mm bolt-action rifles, the MSSR has instead become the primary sniper rifle of the Marine Scout snipers due to its outstanding performance in the field. The deployment of the MSSR also allowed the Philippine Marine Corps to retire its M1903 Springfield, M1C Garand and M14 rifles from active service. Ammunition. The first generation MSSR used either factory 5.56 mm NATO 62 grain SS109 ball ammunition or 69 grain Federal Match Gold Medal Boat Tail Hollow Point, BTHP, cartridges. The second generation rifle may use these rounds as well as the HSM 69 grain BTHP cartridge. The third generation MSSR uses 5.56 mm 69 grain Horn 80 BTHP match or 75 grain Horn 80 tap BTHP match ammunition hand-loaded at the Marine Scout Sniper School. Variants. The first generation MSSR was deployed in 1996 as an M16A1 with a Tasco variable 39 x 40 mm rubber-coated scope on a DPMS tri-mounted top the carry handle. This required a delta bar cheek piece on the stock to align the operator's eye with the elevated scope position. The standard handguards were replaced with a free-floating aluminum forearm, and a Harris folding bipod was attached to the underside of the forearm. The standard M16A1 barrel was replaced with a free-floated 24 inches DPMS heavy stainless steel ultra-match barrel with a 1 in 8.5 inches right-hand twist, with an M16A1 front sight base. A J&P match trigger was installed, which is later used in the second and third generation versions. The second generation MSSR was created by removing the forward portion of the carry handle and attaching the tri-mount directly to the top of the upper receiver. The Tasco scope and scope rings were attached to the tri-mount, which provided a lower scope to bore height. The delta bar cheek piece was no longer required and was removed. The M16A1 front sight base was removed and replaced with a DPMS gas block. The barrel was changed to a DPMS ultra-match barrel with a 1 in 8 inches RH twist, and the M16A1 stock and pistol grip were replaced with A2 versions. The third generation rifle, introduced in 2004, retained the second generation features but replaced the Tasco scope with a Bushnell variable 39 x 40 mm scope with a mil-dot reticle, mounted with 3 scope rings on the receiver mounted tri-mount. For the Philippine Marine Corps, Barrel length remained the same at 24 inches with the 1 and 8 inches DPMS Ultra Match barrel. A version with a 20 inches barrel was made available for the Naval Special Operations Group. The 4th generation rifles, introduced in 2016, feature Leupold Mark IV LR, TM3 scope mounted on a Leupold mount, an 18-inch cold hammer forged Daniel defense barrel, a JP match trigger, a Harris swivel bipod, a tactical charging handle lash, ambidextrous fire controls, an extended trigger guard and a Magpul precision adjustable stock. It also comes issued with an AACSR-5 suppressor, 20-round Magpul magazines and a Pelican carrying case. The 5th generation rifles, introduced in 2017, differ from the 4th generation by featuring a full-length railed handguard. Derivative weapons. Origins of the Philippine Marine Corps Scout Sniper Program. The Philippine Marine Corps began its sniper program with the formation of the Reserve Marksmanship and Sniper Unit, RMS-2, in 1969 with Lieutenant Commander Adolfo S. Feliciano, PNM, as its first commanding officer. At that time, the unit was the only one in the AFP dedicated to the development and institutionalization of marksmanship and sniping. The lack of a dedicated sniping platform, the gradual reduction over time of the sniper program, continued Marine combat operations, and the experience of the 1989 attempted coup d'etat, convinced the PMC of the necessity to restore its sniping capability. This was undertaken through several activities, which included the development of a dedicated sniper rifle to replace the M84 equipped M1D Garand and on-scoped M14 rifles of the RMS-2, which had become inoperable over time. Background of M16 production in the Philippines. In 1970s, the M16A1 service rifle manufacturing program was undertaken by Alisco Tool Manufacturing Company, Alisco, for the Philippine government, with licensing from the Colt Arms Company of Hartford, Connecticut. By 1986, production of M16A1S by Alisco had ceased after the overthrow of President Marcos. The Marine Scout Sniper Rifle. The Marine Scout Sniper Rifle, MSSR, is a sniper rifle developed by the Philippine Marine Corps due to a lack of a dedicated precision rifle and is a derivative of a M16A1 assault rifle. The Corps developed the MSSR from the M16A1 due to their experience of battling insurgents in a jungle environment, wherein an engagement distance of only a couple hundred of meters is considered normal. A smaller rifle in the jungle like the MSSR is more ergonomic than other rifles used by the Marines like the M1903 Springfield, M1 Garand and M14 rifles. By developing a new rifle, the MSSR is a practical and cost-saving measure for the Corps during a time when modernization efforts were hampered due to lack of funds. For example, they bought components like the scopes on wholesale stores. Developed under by then Major Jonathan Martyr, Gen 1 to Gen 3 MSSRs were produced in-house by the Marines. In 2010, Martyr, by now a retired Major General, was appointed Director of the Government Arsenal. During his administration the production of the Gen 4 and Gen 5 of the MSSR was started, along with other variants produced from the M16A1 platform. The MSSR is complemented in the Marine Corps arsenal by rifles like the M21, Remington 700, Barrett M82 and M95S for longer ranges. The early versions of the MSSR were heavily used by Marine snipers during the 2000 all-out offensive in Mindanao, and as recent as the Battle of Marawi in 2017, where a Marine sniper armed with a Gen 4 MSSR racked up a reported more than 50 kills. Government Arsenal MSSR variants. The Marine Scout Sniper Rifle was made from M16A1 rifles produced by Alisco Tool Manufacturing Company during the 1970s. Subsequent upgrades of the MSSR, Gen 2s to 5s, were done by upgrading the older Gen MSSRs into newer models. Gen 1, deployed in 1996 as an M16A1 with a Tasco variable 39x40mm rubber-coated scope on a DPMS tri-mounted top the carry handle. This required a delta bar cheek piece on the stock to align the operator's eye with the elevated scope position. The standard handguards were replaced with a free-floating aluminum forearm, and a Harris folding bipod was attached to the underside of the forearm. The standard M16A1 barrel was replaced with a free-floated 24 inches, 68 centimeters, DPMS heavy stainless steel ultra-match barrel with a 1 and 8.5 inches right-hand twist, with an M16A1 front sight base. A J&P match trigger was installed. Gen 2, the second generation MSSR was created by removing the forward portion of the carry handle and attaching the tri-mount directly to the top of the upper receiver. The Tasco scope and scope rings were attached to the tri-mount, which provided a lower scope to bore height. The Delta bar cheek piece was no longer required and was removed. The M16A1 front sight base was removed and replaced with a DPMS gas block. The barrel was changed to a DPMS Ultra Match barrel with a 1 and 8 inches RH twist, and the M16A1 stock and pistol grip were replaced with A2 versions. Gen 3 retained the second generation features, but replaced the Tasco scope with a Bushnell variable 39 by 40 mm scope with a mil-dot reticle, mounted with 3 scope rings on the receiver-mounted tri-mount. For the Philippine Marine Corps, barrel length remained the same at 24 inches with the 1 and 8 inches DPMS Ultra Match barrel. A version with a 20 inches barrel was made available for the Navy SEALs. NAVSOCOM Gen 4 features a Leupold Mark IV LR TM3 scope mounted on a Leupold mount, an 18-inch cold hammer forged Daniel Defense match barrel with a 1/7-inch twist, a Giselle 2-stage match trigger, a Harris swivel bipod, a tactical charging handle lash, ambidextrous fire controls, an extended trigger guard and a Magpul precision adjustable stock. It also comes issued with an AACSR-5 suppressor, 20-round Magpul magazines, government arsenal-made low-profile gas block, trigger guard and ambi-safety. Uses a Pelican storage case. Gen 4 and 5 variants upgraded from older Gen MSSRs. Gen 5, same specs with Gen 4, but with a railed handguard. Other variants derived from the M16A1 Night Fighting Weapons System, NFWS, used by Special Forces units like the Marine Force Recon, MARSIG, and the Navy SEALs. NAVSOCOM, produced 2004. The NFWS was made for operations in forested areas and day and night operations. Optics can be mounted on the rifle via bikini rail on top of the upper receiver. The Litton model M845MK a night vision sight is used as its night sight. The NFWS utilizes a 16-inch chromoly mil-spec 556x 45mm barrel with a 1 to 9-inch rifling twist to enable it to stabilize standard issue M193-55 grain ball to 62 grain SS109 and 69 grain match ammunition. The barrel is individually recrowned and rechambered to ensure reliability and accuracy. The barrel makes use of porting, or cross-drilling, with holes drilled along its entire length, which is covered by the integral suppressor. The barrel is cross-drilled for gas bleed-off as part of the suppressor silencer design. A metal housing which incorporates a series of slots to facilitate barrel cooling replaces the issued synthetic handguards. The sound suppressor is an integral, all-metal unit that houses the entire barrel, gas port, and gas tube mechanism all the way up to the receiver. Proprietary designed expansion chambers and baffles capture and dissipate or reduce sound generated from gases produced when the weapon is fired. Made from stainless steel for strength and durability, the baffles take into consideration the tropical and humid operating environment. Special purpose rifle used by the government arsenal's security force. Features an 18 inches free-floating bow barrel with a 1 and 7 inches twist, a standard A2 flash suppressor, a flat-top upper receiver with a bikini rail, provisions for a bipod and semi and select fire. 3 units were sent to the Army Scout Rangers during the Battle of Marawi, but due to popular demand, it will be issued to other units. Squad Designated Marksman Rifle. The Squad Designated Marksman Rifle is a mid-length carbine similar in configuration to the SEAL Recon Rifle, U.S., that was developed upon request by the Philippine Army Scout Rangers. It features a railed upper receiver, a mid-length gas system, a Daniel Defense 16-inch cold hammer forged barrel, a Daniel Defense free-floating railed handguard, a 4x32 Trigicon advanced combat optic, a Magpul STR buttstock, a hoe grip containing a cleaning kit and a Cerakote finish. Now used by other units under the AFP Special Operations Command, AFPSOCOM, like the Army Special Forces Regiment, Airborne Night Fighting Weapon System created in late 2004. The Night Fighting Weapon System, NFWS, was made for the purpose of fighting in forested areas in low light conditions. Night vision and regular daytime scopes can be mounted on the rifle via bikini rail on top of the upper receiver. The rifle is equipped with an integral sound suppressor fabricated in-house out of stainless steel. The suppressor is fitted on a bull barrel, 1 inch in diameter, with a 1 9 inches twist. In 1996, to replace the M1C Garand and M14 rifle, which were still in Philippine service as marksman rifles, the MSSR was designed in-house by Lieutenant Col. Roberto Emanuel T. Feliciano and Col. Jonathan C. Martyr. Special Purpose Rifle. The Special Purpose Rifle, SPR, is a designated marksman rifle intended to meet the requirement for a 5.56 mm rifle to engage targets up to 800 meters with optics. This rifle would replace the older M14s used as designated marksman rifles in the Philippine Army. The new rifle will feature an 18 inches free-floating bow barrel with a 1 7 inches twist, a standard A2 flash suppressor, a flat-top upper receiver with a bikini rail, provisions for a bipod and semi and select fire. The new variant, designated the Government Arsenal SPR, DMR, was slated to go into service in 2015, with the production of the initial batch of rifles. Squad Designated Marksman Rifle. The Squad Designated Marksman Rifle, SDMR, is a mid-length carbine similar in configuration to the Seal Requan rifle. It features a railed upper receiver, a mid-length gas system, a Daniel Defense 16-inch cold hammer forged barrel, a Daniel Defense free-floating railed handguard, a Trigicon advanced combat optic, a Magpul STR buttstock, a hook foregrip with a cleaning kit, and a Cerakote finish. Developed as one of the government arsenal's firearms research and development initiatives, an initial batch of 40 units of this carbine were built and turned over to selected AFP Special Operations Forces, SOF, and the Scout Rangers in June of 2015 for testing and evaluation. The SDMR was subsequently ordered by other AFP units. Deployment. The MSSR is the main weapon of choice for the Philippine Marine Scout snipers alongside the newer Remington 700P intermediate range day-night scout sniper rifle and the Barrett M95 anti-materiel rifle. Sniper teams usually work in pairs with the operator accompanied by a spotter, usually equipped with an M16A2 rifle with an M203 grenade launcher.